welcome back to my channel. My name is Avarice Rose, and as you can see, the silver is starting to come down through my hair. We are excited for it. We are here for it. I love the purple in my hair. I cannot tell you how much of a magician my friend was for doing this for me. And I can't believe it. We're already on Haunted Castles of Scotland. So today's video is going to be episode 1 of diving into some of the most haunted castles and locations, including kirkyards or churchyards in Scotland. I am so thankful that you guys are still here hanging out, and I just want to give you guys a little bit of an escape from the world right now. Grab a snack or a glass of wine and let's get into this. We're going to be looking at 2 castles today. We're going to be looking at Inveraray Castle and Fyvie Castle, but first up is Inveraray Castle. Inveraray Castle is on the western shore of Loch Fyne, or Fyne. It's a former royal borough, the traditional county town of Argyll, and the ancestral home of the Duke of Argyll. In 1774, the 3rd Duke of Argyll decided to demolish the existing castle and start from scratch with a new building. The castle was 40 years into its construction. The end product was not only a castle in the traditional sense, but a classic Georgian manor house on a grand scale. And this is today what we see as Inveraray Castle. Over the years, the castle has played host to a numerous group of royals. Queen Victoria visited in 1874, and the royal connection was further cemented by her daughter, Princess Louise, when Princess Louise married the heir to the Campbell chieftainship, the Marquess of Lorne, in 1871, illustrating the elevated position of the Argyll family in social order during those times. So there's a lot of history here. There's something magical about Scotland, and that I just can't really put a finger on why, but because history everywhere is rich, but there's something about Scotland that is just a little bit extra special. So this book is called The Clans and Tartans of Scotland by Robert Bain. It was published in 1968, and my Nana had this in her living room on one of her book stands, and before she passed, she was gracious enough to hand it down to me. And in it, it has not only my clan tartan, which is the Stuart, and a multitude of other tartans within the Clan Stuart, but also Clan Campbell, which is this color, and this is the tartan for the Duke of Argyll, the clan that resides at Inveraray Castle. The crest badge is a boar's head, festwise couped, and the motto is the Oblivis Caris, or Forget Me Not. So you can see they have the clan crest up here. It gives a little bit of history about the clan, and it also talks about Argyll and West Scotland. And yeah, it's pretty neat. It gives their origin of the name, the plant badge, the war cry, and pipe music that they would march to, which their pipe music translates to "the Campbells are coming." So that's pretty funny. So this book is very special and very important to me. So with such a deep history and the original castle being taken down and then recreated, of course, there are bound to be spirits that run amok. So let's get into some of those. Perhaps the most alarming of Inveraray's quintet of ghosts is to be found in the MacArthur Room. The legend goes that in 1644, the Duke of Argyll fled his castle to escape capture from the Marquess of Montrose. He left behind a young Irish boy which had been in his employment as a harpist. Upon being discovered by Montrose's men, the youthful musician was killed. The Marquess, who had deployed Irish mercenaries, were outraged that a fellow countryman could be in the employ of their sworn enemy, and they slaughtered him, leaving his dismembered body on the Duke's bed. This spirit is attached also to the new castle. He stayed, and not just to the castle, but to the bed. So when they moved the bed to the modern castle, it said when a member of the family is about to die in the castle, harp music will begin to play and be coming from this room with this bed in it. And the last report of the ghostly phenomenon was when the 10th Duke died in 1949. Elsewhere in the house, a bagpiper can be heard playing on the balcony of the Brown Library. And when Most Haunted visited the castle, a book of poetry was thrown from this same spot. However, in the old kitchen, a more cheery spirit in the form of a laundry maid has been heard laughing hysterically on a number of occasions. So there's both this ominous, harp music that played when somebody's about to die, and then there's a spirit that seems to chuck things at you, and then there's this laughing spirit. So it's not all bad. There's also the ghost of a young woman allegedly murdered by Jacobites, has also been seen roaming around the castle. She's usually dressed in a gray gown, as they all usually are, and is known as a lot of them are known as, the Grey Lady. Her exact identity, however, is unknown. Another reported death omen, much like the harpist in Inveraray, is the ghost of a phantom galleon that sails on nearby Loch Fyne. It's believed that the ghost ship comes ashore to claim the life of the Clan Campbell chief, and allegedly in the 18th century, one of the chieftains was so certain that the ghost ship was coming to claim him that he actually drank poison so as to not disappoint the Phantom Galleon's crew. So, very interesting. So Inveraray has a lot of history, a lot of lore, a death omen for their clan chieftain. What more could you want in a haunted castle? Especially one that has been featured on television shows such as Most Haunted. I've seen that one. It's pretty funny. Getting anything thrown at you when you don't necessarily know something's there is terrifying, but it's kind of funny that, the book that was thrown was poetry. I mean, it's poetry. The next stop in Scotland will be to Fyvie Castle, which I am sure, if any of you are well versed in the ghostly haunts of Scotland or castles, you have heard of this famous haunt. So the earliest parts of Fyvie Castle date from the 13th century, and some sources claim it was built in 1211 by William the Lion. Fyvie was the site of an open-air court held by Robert the Bruce, and Charles I lived there as a child. Following the Battle of Otterburn in 1930, it ceased to be a royal stronghold and instead fell into the possession of 5 successive families. These families were called Preston, Meldrum, Seton, Gordon, and Leith, each of whom added a new tower to the castle. The oldest of these is the Preston Tower, located on the far right as one of the faces of the main facade of Fivey. Dates back to between 1390 and 1433. The impressive Seton Tower forms the entrance and was erected in 1599 by Alexander Seton. The Gordon Tower followed in 1778 and the Leith in 1890. Fyvie Castle has also been the home of many battles. Many battles were fought on Fyvie's grounds, in and around Fyvie Castle itself. The Hauntings of Fyvie Castle. Tales of murder and betrayal definitely cast a shadow over this 800-year-old Scottish baronial fortress. If the room temperature drops and the air suddenly fills with the scent of roses, it's said that you are in the presence of Lilith Drummond. Legend tells that Lilith was starved to death by her husband, Alexander Seton, for failing to provide him a son and heir. On the night of his second marriage, her ghostly laments were heard outside the marital bedchamber. In the morning, and still visible today, her name was found freshly scratched into the castle walls. On the outside, mind you, or on the window. I've seen this episode of Most Haunted in Castles in Scotland, and it's pretty chilling to see where the actual scratch marks are, and it's like, well, how did they get there? Who did this? If somebody was playing a prank, it would have been hard to get to. So, Fyvie Castle is also home to numerous curses and creepy aesthetic. Visitors have often been spooked by the variety of oil paintings, which eyes seem to watch your every move and kind of creep people out. In 1920, renovation work was to be done on the 13th century castle at the request of the laird, which is how they say lord in Scotland. On working on one of the bedroom walls in the castle, a body of a woman was discovered behind the wall. Now remember, the legend is that Lilith Drummond was starved to death in the castle. The body was laid to rest in Fivey Cemetery, and on that very same day, the castle residents began to experience unexplained happenings and strange noises. The laird feared he had upset the corpse and demanded it be returned to its original grave behind the bedroom wall, in which the haunting quickly stopped. It is to believe that the woman had requested to be buried there at the time of her death, making the spirit upset when she was disturbed. The apparition of the woman has since been seen roaming around the castle, while rumors suggest there is a secret room in the southwest of the castle that must remain sealed, or else those who enter will meet disaster or be cursed. It's unknown if this is the room where this other apparition of a woman resides, which leaves me to wonder if Lilith Drummond has a little bit more to do with these hauntings and the curses, perhaps when she was, starved to death, possibly holed up in a wall or holed up in a secret room, that she could have cursed it. Because if I was being starved to death in a secret sealed off room, I wouldn't be too happy about that either. I'm just saying. One of the curses has been attributed to the prophetic laird Thomas the Rhymer. The curse is said to have been part of the mysterious 3 weeping stones. Only one weeping stone is known to exist and is kept at the castle. The other 2 have never been found. This stone is literally kept in a very secure location of the castle. It's been studied extensively by scientists. It is a stone that literally weeps. It excretes a liquid substance. I'm not exactly sure if it's like just water or if it is like a natural substance that a rock would give off, or like a precious stone, or like a granite rock would give off. I don't know. However, I've seen it, not myself, like up close and personal, but on programs, and it's weird. It literally sits in a bowl of water or liquid that it weeps, and it has to be, dumped pretty much daily. So make of that what you will about weeping stones. Fyvie Castle has featured in a number of British television programs, such as Living TV's Most Haunted Season 6. The castle was also featured in BBC documentary Castle Ghosts of Scotland, narrated by Robert Hardy. So you can go on YouTube, you can find the segment that I watched with Robert Hardy, which shows the weeping stone, the etchings of the supposed upset wife of Lilius, and then of course the secret room with the strange blood stain on the floor before it. So make of it what you will and enter Fyvie Castle at your own risk. That's all I have today for you guys. I hope you really enjoyed this first episode of Haunted Castles of Scotland. I know that I am having a blast researching them, and I can't wait to bring you next week's episode. I hope you guys all stay safe, stay inside if you can, stay sane, and one love, you guys. See you in the next one.